Welcome back, Truck Sim fans. It's time to load up that profile that you keep just for modded maps again as we dive further into the DSL map mod. This is a follow-up video from the one I did just introducing some of the places you can go. Here we're going to take a deeper dive into some of the unknown, unmarked places. First of all, let's find that last job in the town of Meme where we start. There it is. We're going to select this job, but we're not going to take the route that it suggests. Not entirely. I'm going to make a few diversions. First of all, please forgive the speeded up video. This is just to get things over and done with. And also, I don't know if you've noticed, there's some razziness in the way that the sound is recorded. It sounds like it's making a chopping noise. We'll come to that in a minute. We're going to go and try and visit this place, okay, at the bottom of the map. So let's take a diversion from our route, which was going to go around the outside of Meme, between the two places that have jobs, and then see what's down there. Here we go. Now, apologies in a minute. We still have to get out of the depot with the load, making sure it goes onto the ramps there. You might hear at the moment there was some clicking and clipping. Unfortunately, it got so bad I couldn't fix it. So here what we've got is some stock truck sounds. Okay, just for the next, I think it's 10 minutes. They're not going to match. But it's something to listen to in the background whilst we go through what we're going to do. Now the depot we delivered to is ahead of us, but we're going to take this left-hand turn and head on down the hill. As you can see in the distance, there look to be some interesting places to visit. This road is not one of those which is unmapped. It is mapped, it does have a destination, but there are no businesses or other landmarks or things that are noted down there, at least on the map. So we should go and try and find out what we'll see down there. And this might actually give us some sort of insight into what the developer of this map was thinking, maybe of extending further the map, offering different drives, different experiences. We're going to come across one very quick stop point at this instance. Whoa, you see that? Now unfortunately, what tends to happen here is the truck does get stuck. And had I not replaced the sound with this stock noise, you'd hear some rather angry drivers behind me beeping away. We're going to use the teleport feature. I'll try and find a link to one of the instructions about how to enable this, but we're going to use it rather a lot in this map because we need to jump beyond those roadblock markers and continue driving along the road beyond. So there we go. We've now repositioned the truck behind the road blocking markers there, and we're going to now carry on driving to see what was down here. Now the first building we come across that we would not have otherwise driven past is this one at the side. There seems to be some sort of parking area here, but clearly this is unfinished. We don't normally have mountains floating in the sky. This is not Gulliver's Travels after all. But there are some arcades, shops, road traffic, other things like this that have clearly been planned into this part of the map. Let's do a quick U-turn here. Presumably this was going to be some other part of town. I'm not going to drive over that dark line because that dark line actually is a gap in the drivable surface. As we can see here, the bus disappears. That's the problem about these unfinished areas. Somewhere or other the buses, the game traffic, the non-playable stuff has to start and finish, so it does that. It does tend to clip out of the place in either one go like the bus or several stages like it would be with a truck and a trailer. Let's head back down towards this rather nice looking viaduct. You can see it there. There was another road which something was going to be planned down there, not quite sure what. But we'll take this roundabout junction and travel down underneath this viaduct into the village that we can see ahead of us. There's clearly a lot of traffic down there. It's a busy old place. there's enough work being done on this that we've got all these different businesses, all these different buildings, areas, markings, roads, lots of stuff. The developer has been busy planning away, but is locked behind those no-go barriers. Let's continue down this road. Always drive where the road goes. Don't know if you noticed back when we were selecting this little diversion, there were a couple of undriven roads that were orphaned, just tucked away. If you keep an eye on the sat-nav screen and the truck dashboard, you're going to see one of them ahead of us, a little piece of grey road. I've mentioned in the previous video that these were kind of oddly connected, and this is how. We have a road that's fully drivable that ends up going to this place. That section of the map is now drawn. As we can see there, it was associated with these roadworks. And we'll find other areas of the map that are similar. Now I know the default truck noise is getting a bit loud at this point. That's just what it does. We'll keep an eye on that volume, and I may adjust it before the video is produced. However, we keep driving along this nice dual carriageway past that Lamborghini that we've just undercut. In case any of you are wondering, I'm using the Sizzles pack for the dashboard and the navigation, which is why the navigation bar is very small at the bottom and not blocking a lot of the screen. Oh, another area down to the right there, and the road is disappearing ahead of us. As we can see, these trucks and cars are just simply vanishing. So I'm going to stop here, do a quick U-turn, go back to that junction and see what's down there. As we said before, there's a lot of traffic on this map, and that is actually the end of a very long queue. I had to wait here for several minutes. So let's see what's down this side road. Well, immediately we see unfinished landscape, just a gap in the floor. But we're clearly going around to some sort of service station or rest area, possibly even bigger. There's a car waiting with its hazards on, I'm not sure why. But if we look at the ground there, it looks like this is exit only, so perhaps there was an entrance area or slip road planned somewhere else that never became visible. Let's speed this up a bit now. Get around, give you some idea of where we are at. Clearly unfinished landscape there, but there are finished fuel stations. There are fuel stations that you can seemingly fill up at. So let's see what's around. You can see some unfinished roads, bits and pieces over the side there, some businesses. But for now, let's just go and see what this unknown fuel station is going to charge me for some diesel. So let's pull up to it as usual. Turn the engine off and fill up. What's the price? Well, it's not too bad in terms of what I would pay here in the UK, but that's quite expensive for a litre. Didn't take much to fill up though, and we're off on our way again. Now I wonder if that car that we passed on the way in is still sitting at the roadside with its bonnet up. Yes, it is. The hood's up on that car. But the other one was actually player movable and has now driven off. We're going to go back up to the roundabout beyond the viaduct. Here we go. We're heading back towards that stop marker that we hit quite suddenly. It's just up here. This feature that some maps have of not having the markers appear until the very last second, right before you're on them. There you go. How could you react to that if you're doing any sort of speed? However, if this is an unfinished map, I'm going to try and drive around it. Normally, the developers would extend the block across either side, so this wouldn't be possible, but it may be possible here. Let's see. Oh no, that was a sudden stop, wasn't it? So I'm going to back up a little bit just to make sure that there is nothing actually stopping the trailer, and then we'll quickly use the teleports to get beyond this invisible barrier. Perhaps that's part of the one we just saw the X's in the road. Perhaps it's another one. Anyway, this is clearly an unsurfaced road, a track or a trail. So whatever's down here could be more industrial. Let's go and find out. First thing we see is this hotel at the side of the road. Now I don't know if that's actually reachable normally without using teleports. It may well be. But we'll continue beyond it. As you can see on the map, we're pretty much at the end of the road. The sat-nav display on the dashboard says we've got to the end of the track. Now, that normally means there's going to be a stop, but while I look at this little lake, river, whatever it might be, let's just gently drive down the road here, see where it gets us. Oh, another one of those stop markers. Right, so we could assume that this road actually was drivable to this point, and the developer was thinking of something else to put here. Anyway, we'll teleport beyond that. Remember to leave enough room for the trailer as well. You don't want to have that hooked up onto the stop barriers, so there we go, and continue onwards. This trail is typical of some of the trails in DSL. They're quite thin. Challenging, but not too bad. I'm now going to come across a point where the trail disappears under the water surface. Now there's a bridge over there. I wonder if there's any ramps up onto it underwater. Oh, no. Whoops. First bit of damage. So what I'll do is I'll back up a little bit and then take it nearer the wall, the rock edge at the side there, and see if I can't get onto that ramp. Onto these what look like a small wooden bridge of sorts. See how that will go. Yep, the front wheel's up and we're going. But this this rock seems to have a hitbox that is a little bit further out than the actual graphic itself, because I don't know if you noticed up in the top corner there, I've got the right hand rear view mirror showing, and we weren't that close to the rock itself for it to tip us. And up here there's another one, because all of a sudden we end up with a little bit of trailer damage. Now that was not anywhere near anything at the side, so perhaps we're seeing here another example of the hitboxes not quite lining up. And yet again we're at the end of a road. If we drove off there we would fall. So let's go back to where the windmill was, just by those stop markers. I'm going to clear the map and I'm going to quickly get up to the top of the hill, because in all honesty this standard truck noise is just getting on my nerves a little bit now. Sorry about that if it's getting on yours, but we're going to go and finish this delivery. So we've taken our diversion, the bus is letting us out, and we're going to go and take the route I took in the previous video, the left-hand drive side, rather than going round to the right, doing most of apart from Britain, Ireland, Cyprus and Malta, all countries in Europe that are still driving on the left with right-hand drive vehicles. Right, we've seen this before, this depot, there's no point talking about it again. If you wanted to find out more, go to the previous video. We'll just drop the delivery here, see if there's anything else in this town. Well, what do you know, there isn't. That hasn't changed at least. So what we'll do now is we will go and try and find some other areas. We've seen that bit at the south, that part there, which was a motorway, and there's a section of small junctions up here. Let's go and find out what that is. So here we are at the top of the hill, which was on our route around. We're going to just drive free as the wind, as it says, with no trailer on, just the cab. And we're going to take our directions basically from where the road goes in front of us. Let's see what we find. Well, clearly there are things that are set up down here, otherwise that truck would not be coming up the road. And as you notice, we're back to the normal noises. That annoying, chattering, buzzing noise. It was like a 4 hertz, like that on the top of everything. It was amplifying. Just much happier now than the standard truck noises are back. We're coming up to somewhere where there is a right-hand turn up there. It's not very obvious though. Look, it's marked on the road. Where is that? That's probably going to be one of those overgrown trails. We'll see another one of those later on. Get carefully around the corner. Down the hill. Now, ahead of us we see some buildings coming into view through the trees. So, maybe those additional markings, those additional bits of road, were something to do with this town that we're approaching. Here is another example of unfinished work. This presumably was going to have a hillside built around it, so that would be a tunnel into a bank or hill. Okay, so we're at a T-junction. The way to the right just falls off the map. There are buildings here. There are roads here. There's clearly traffic here. Let's see what's going on. One of the problems we're going to have, obviously, is if something very, very quickly appears at that point. You can't see it until it appears on the map. Let's take this right-hand turn. Let's see what's this way. Well, put that blocked off road there, there's just a drop-off. There's a road to the left further up here, which may lead us somewhere. Let's see. Truck's coming out of it, so perhaps it's drivable. Certainly looks that way. Oh dear. Another block marker, so you know the routine by now. We quickly use the teleport to get beyond it. And look, it's starting to rain. We now don't have to worry about the trailer. We haven't got one on now, we're just driving the unit. So the road is now narrowed off by a building that's laid across it. Now, in my experience, buildings like this can be driven through, and this is no different. There's a van behind us waiting to go on, probably through that cliff there. That may also be drivable as well. You can sometimes go through the landscape there. Small pieces of artifacts on the right hand side there, which show where the other side of that building is. There's one wall. I just pull the truck forward a little bit and then zoom back out. There's the other wall, so we are actually inside the building model, the in-game building model. Nothing much more to see up there. Let's go back down to that T-junction and do the straight ahead road instead. Now this is all off the map. We're no longer anywhere near any roads that are marked. We've dealt with those few junction markers while we drove around that small town. We go up through a barrier here and find these three chaps walking around with a placard. What is it they're saying? What are they concerned about? I think that's a familiar message. The end is nigh. The end is ahead. So, does that mean the end of the map, the end of the road, or is there something else up here that we should be wary of? We know what we're going to do. We're going to drive it and find out. So here we go. Carrying on up the road. Familiar thing to anybody in my country. This road's quite nice. Lots of woodland here. You see, the developers placed all of these items around here. Decided what type of scenery, what landscape, where that cliff edge there, that rock wall is, and whatever else goes on. But where are we heading? Let's have a look on the main sat-nav. You know what? We've just found a route back to part of the map that is on the sat-nav display. We're right at it now. So this point here is where the map begins again. We're going to go to the right, up this rather narrow, slightly overgrown bit. There's a road down there, which we might try later. But now we're going to go off the map again, so we're going to go beyond where the sat-nav shows us as a drivable road. You can see I've got top-down view on the in-game sat-nav and the road ahead view on the truck sat-nav that's on the dashboard. Sometimes I'll turn that in-game sat-nav off. But that's another one of the features of the sizzles. In-game map is smaller because of that mod map that's loaded. We just drove over some sand there. That would be quite interesting if there was any sort of hill or load on the back. It would be quite slippery. Now this is quite a tight looking place, isn't it? Buildings and things here, cars strewn all over the place. There is just enough room to get through. This is again another feature of this map. It's quite tight little roads to drive down. We're going to go around the corner here. What do we see? Well, it keeps going. We've gone through a small town, past what looked like a Volkswagen Passat, just sat there at the side of the road. What's this industrial site over here? It's got a big cooling tower. Clearly there's unfinished landscape. There is a way in, so we'll go left here and go in and see what it is. Oh, that logo. So, it's a nuclear power station by the look of it. Maybe the end is ahead was referring to this. Maybe they were campaigners against nuclear power. This looks quite homely. There's some what look like residential blocks. Parking areas, maybe they're offices that look like flats. Anyway, they are there. Roads disappear again in front of us. We're going to take the one that we can drive. Speed bumps everywhere. There's another one. So we could have taken a slightly different route, but we didn't. We took that corner that way around. Let's keep going. Let's keep going past this, what seems to be a floating cooling tower, up through this part of the complex. Through a control barrier of sorts. Oh, okay, what is here? Nothing much to the side. Some nice buildings, and then the road just stops. Right. Let's have a look and see what's beyond that. Teleport's useful for this. You can go up and down. So design, fly around. Whoa, well there's another road at the end there. You just saw it, you'll find that later on maybe. Some nice effects there from the cooling tower. Let's go to the top of the map. This is another part of the map. If you look very carefully, not far where the previous road tipped us out. The route that we found from the unmarked village. So down here, another barrier. I am actually stuck. As you can hear, this is one of the things that annoys me about these. You don't just bump into them and bounce back. You get stuck in them. So we're going to teleport beyond it. Yet again. Let's see where this road goes. Well, it's finishing ahead. I can already see there's a cut line. So let's stop here and see what's to see at the side now. Actually, looking over to the right there, that looks a familiar place, doesn't it? Yep. Look. It's the power station. We were just there. So we've answered that question. Let's go back and see what that turn off to the right that we just drove past as we hit that barrier, where that leads. I'm going to take it a little bit more steady just in case there is halfway down another one of those invisible barriers. This is clearly part of the actual drivable map. There are no barriers to this point from the main map. We're not that far away. If you look at the in-game sat-nav that I've just left on screen there as we look at the outside of the truck. We're not that far away from the drivable areas ourselves, but where is this road leading? Well, it looks a bit industrial, doesn't it? It looks like a quarry of some sort. Lots of loose rock and a very thin road going around the place. And another thing I like about this map is sometimes the road just disappears in front of you. Where is it going? Get used to using the follow cam and other views to find your route through places like this. Now we'll just pick up the speed a little bit. Carry on down the road. As you can see, we've now moved quite far down the side of the areas in which we've already driven. What's ahead? Well, more road actually, it's quite a lot more road. I wonder if this pops out anywhere, like the other one did. Oh, right. No, it looks like it's a rock face. Now, unlike the buildings and some hillsides, rock faces are not normally drivable. We'll teleport back up to the main area again, as you can see on the map. We're now coming up at the end of the road that was directly ahead of us when we came up that secret way before we turned off right to the nuclear station. Okay, what's down there? Let's go, shall we? Let's find out. What is it? Well, this is another road that seems to go somewhere. But there's nothing actually marked on this one, unlike the other place. There's no markings on it. No town names, but there are two spurs at the far end and one little side road. So shall we see what's down here? Now some of these jumps and bumps, as it were, the ripples in the road are quite severe. That's took the bottom of my bumper there. We keep going, nonetheless. Ah, cows in the road. Must be a rural farming area up there. Oh, what's this? Muddy water. Wow, that's quite deep. That nearly went to the top of my doors, where the windows start. I don't know how those cars are going to come. Right, there's the side road. That's the teeny one that we saw on the map. We'll come back and see what's up there with it. And we'll go down here further. Oh, some more buildings and so on. Let's look to take the right hand turn this through it. See where this heads. The road seems to extend across there a little bit. And cliff wall or a mountain. This is another thin road. Seems to be heading into a woodland area, a low valley. There's a house at least. And there's a lake. So we've now moved on to a semi-covered area. Whoa! And that's why you don't speed down there without remembering that there could be a blockage barrier. Here's another trick though. The teleport tool can get you out of these kind of situations. You don't have to go and take your truck to a service station. Let me show you how. So your truck's clearly on its side, you go over there onto the road beyond where the barrier was, click the Control F9 key to teleport, and your truck's back on its wheels. So that's an easy fix. If that ever happens to you and you've got the teleport system enabled, it does involve editing one of the config files, but it does give you a bit more than the teleport as well, or some other dev tools that might be useful. For example, reporting map bugs and so on. There's a little thing that is enabled as well. Oh, we've clearly got to the end of the road here. Look, it's going to disappear again. Ugh, what do you know? When I hit that barrier, it caused so much damage, my engine is now putting out. This happens if you've got 10% or more of damage. It starts to happen more frequently. And rather than drive back, I'm going to go and skip across land with the teleport and drop myself on the end of the other road, the other spur. And I'm going to drive back up there. Now, there's cars. This is what I made a point of earlier on. You could just drop yourself there in front of a car that's speeding along quite happily without realising it, and you would end up hitting, either being hit by the car or hitting something that you didn't see. Oh, anyway, there you go, the engine cut out again. And as you can hear, it had some difficulty starting. I think I've got something like 26% damage. We'll speed this up a bit. It does that with the sound every so often. But we know this is just another one of those straight roads that goes past places. Now around here, we've gone beyond the point roughly where the other stop barrier was, so maybe I should expect one. Oh, engine cut out again. I'm going to go a bit more slowly. Unlike quick travel, you can teleport with an extremely damaged truck. Quick travel, I think, stops you from using that system if you've got more than about 6 or 7% damage. There's another road barrier. Head there. Let's see if we can drive around it. What is this? A bit of surface. Ooh, it's quite bumpy. Is that another flooded area? Not sure. Better put the diff locks on and see if I can't pull out here. And we'll get going back down towards that small side road that is on it. We're driving. It's quite nicely wooded, isn't it? I don't know if this is meant to go anywhere, but yeah, just like that the rain stopped. There's not much of a road here. Nice to see, but let's get back to the main road. Here we are, heading back towards the impromptu car wash. Someone's going to overtake us. I wonder if this will answer the question. Oh, he's completely disappeared. Look how deep that was. Mind the cows. I'm going to go and quickly get this truck fixed. But I'll give you the outside view of the yumps and bumps, the way in which this road throws the truck up and down. You can see, even with chunkier tyres that lift the truck slightly, it still gets caught. Maybe not if I go slowly, but that's very close. Anyway, off to the garage. Here we are, we've repaired it. I won't tell you how much it cost. Not because it was embarrassingly large, but because I've forgotten already. Anyway, let's get around the corner, back to the junction. If you can see on the map, there's a grey area, a grey road, which is at the top of where we drove before to find the view over the nuclear station. But there's a road which was off to the left here. It wasn't very obviously marked. Let's see. Right, it's an overgrown track. A trail, as it were. Steady away, up here. Can we drive more on sand? Notice the difference. And this now causes the transmission some slip. So, I won't even bother with the change gear, it will probably start bog out. I'm going to go to the right and see what's down this side. This looks like a little village. So this area maybe was only just, I'm going to say a few hours, it's probably more than that, of time away from being ready to drive. This looks quite interesting. Yep, well, the way ahead is blocked by some logs. Let's just jump over them. There we go. Now, we'll see what's at the end then. I remember what I said about some of these hillsides. If it's not rocky, it could probably be driven through, but you don't know what's on the other side. I know we're very near to where that road disappeared on the other part of the system. Yes, there we are. If I'd have driven through that, I would have fallen straight off the edge. Anyway, back to the junction we just turned on. Here we go. Let's go up to the right here and see what is in another part of this village. So it's a church of sorts. Up here, around the back of some houses. There's an older building there, it's quite interesting. Got a giant rock, yes. Now, maybe this is where the village is being built. There's lots of workers' signs there, hazard markers, telling you to beware. But let's go over there, slightly knocking back the truck. Okay, well there's piles of building bricks and a caravan and so on, so maybe the builders are still working on this one. Well, the end house looks like it's occupied. Somebody's put some goalposts up in the road there. Let's go around the back of the buildings and see what there is. Because I did notice there was a sneaky shortcut back onto the trail there by the rock. Here we are. Let's go right here and see what is behind this. I'm going to say it's a church, and what that more interesting building would look like. Well, that looks like it's an old ruin or Very old building. Oh, a tunnel. Let's drive down it. Oh, here we go. Now, you're clearly not meant to go down here. The other parts, yes, you could go down there. Because they're on roads that are mapped. This road is now completely off the map. Oh, there the truck got a bit bogged down. I didn't have the handbrake on, but it felt like it, so just putting the handbrake on and off will help to release the truck. I'm going to speed this up a bit, because this is a long tunnel. Oh, there's that stuttering again. I hope that doesn't affect the rest of the video audio. Slowing down here because I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. There are buildings there. Okay, so this is a completely inaccessible area of the map, not even mapped out on the road system, and yet there's all this. Again, like another area, lots of trees, buildings. If you were to look at the tunnel behind, it would be just, I think, just a tunnel. Yes, there you go, no mountain. Nothing to tunnel through, not yet. So, let's see what's going on over here. There is, curiously, some trees floating in fresh air over there, on the left. Oh, this is a quite nice looking town. Yep, lots of development here, lots of different buildings, and even including what looks like some memorials or statuary, that kind of thing, and of course the default, Mad Cow Playground. Oh, road ahead, road to the side. We'll do the side one first. Well, as you can see in the distance there, just as we went round the corner, there was a truck which disappeared, and its trailer then disappeared a split second afterwards. So this is something that traffic is driving along that road and then disappearing off the edge of the surface. I'm going to speed this up a bit because it is just flat. A building in front of us there, but I want to try and see what this pile of containers is all about. Looks like a port. Here we go. There's a fence that ends in a road that falls off. So we'll go in. We're going in through the out. Let's have a look. See, there was a boat, ferry of sorts to the left, but didn't look like the road went round there. It looked like it was incomplete. Let's go down here. There's a train as well. So perhaps there was going to be, in the area I've just driven, perhaps there was going to be some of those dockland cranes and things like this, with the vehicles. Well, there's some ways through, but not big enough for the truck. Let's have a look. Experimenting with surfaces, eh? This looks like snow. If it is, I should get a nice effect when I put my foot down. Yep. It's snow. Okay, let's look for a way through. Let's see if there's a way around at the bottom here first. The ferry was on the far edge. As you can see, just through there, you can see the bows of the ferry. If I come round, there's no way through there, is there? And that's a little bit too small. So let's quickly get back around the other side where we could find a way through. Okay, better be careful here, there's unfinished surface. Again, you saw the trees in the distance, there must be some sort of landscape or island over there. Not sure. Oh, that ferry's not accessible. Where is it? Let's go scoping the place. Right, we've got to go past that crushed up old fallen container and see if we can get onto the boat. There we go. So, should I say ship? Above a certain size, it's a ship. I'm not sure if that qualifies. Let's go through here and then sneak between the containers. The damaged one, round the corner. There's the queue of cars waiting. Let's see where we are on the map. Well, quite far up. The road snakes somewhere up here. Not quite sure exactly how. I wish there was a tracking feature actually on this game, so that if you did drive off the map in areas that were unmarked, it would put like a dotted line or something where you went. So let's go and see if we can board the ferry. I'm curious to see if there's actually an anchor floating there, the green floating anchor with destinations. Shall we find out? Oh, no. This model does appear elsewhere. We'll get back on the road now and try the straight ahead route before we took the left hand to the port. So, here we go. Let's see what this is all about. In leaving village, town, whatever it might be, we're going further into the countryside. Speed this up, it's quite a long road actually. The distances that have been designed in this map are quite impressive. We only get to drive a small part of it. That noise again is back. It's not bad enough for me to go for the default truck noise though. You can just hear that little flutter noise in the background. Oh look, houses. Okay, let's slow down and take a look around here. What's it all about? Yep, there's a little bit of a settlement here. And there's a train crossing, a level crossing. Track goes off that way, doesn't look like it's not much on it. Let's go across anyway. Oh, I can hear a train whistling. Let's have a look. Yep, there's the train. We made it just in time. Carry on through this part of the settlement. It looks quite rural, really. I know it's a village of sorts, but there's not really farming areas or anything. Okay, let's stop here now, because this road does keep going on quite a bit. Let's go and see where it is going to go using the teleport cam. Interesting. Lots of landscape that's been positioned. There's the train track and the level crossing there, and lots of woodland, a mountain in the distance, some pylons even. Now this is not the work of someone who's just having a go. This is a serious piece of design work, and I do wish the creator of this, I think it's a developer called Black Dragon, would actually return to it. Anyway, let's go and find somewhere else to drive. As you can see now, we've driven this part of the motorway. We've also seen small parts of the map where we found junctions, but we're going to go and find again what was to the left of the junction we rode up to before we went to that village with the tumble. Okay, so this is left. This is again a road which is on the map. It's so it's perfectly capable of being driven. In fact, there is a business up here that we'll probably use it to get to, by the look of things, if you look at the overhead map. Here we go. Oh, we're getting some rocky bits. Right, oh, there's a junction here. The road to the left, and the road straight ahead. The road to the left looks quite narrow. We'll come back and see what that is. The road to the right was blocked by a cliff face, and I've known before that is not something you can just drive through. We'll get beyond it anyway and see what's further down this road, because actually looking at the overhead map, can you see it's still a drivable section? So we're nowhere near the end of what the map says is a road that we could have actually used, although we had to use teleport to get beyond here. Now look, there's a large business to the side. I wonder if that's the one that we can see on the map there, or if it's a different one. Anyway, we get to the end of the road here, there's a hillside. This model will be drivable, so we can actually go through it. Nothing much to see there. Let's go back to that road in the ravine that we saw just before the cliff face. Whoa, that was a bit narrow. Let's go down here carefully then. Let's take the outside view and make sure we don't hit anything. Again, it was probably either a very sudden change in the road surface, or it's something with a hitbox, which is quite likely. Nice road sound. This gravelly track. Oh, now there's the business ahead of us. It's not ExoMar. That train is just parked there. So let's see. There's a road to the left and there's a road to the right. Let's take the right hand side. Let's see if we can go and visit the company. Yep. It's Trios. Right, okay, right. I wonder if there's any jobs here. Let's see. Yeah, nope. Okay. I'm going to drive further into this depot though, because I think I saw something beyond it. I'm going to go and try and find if I can get a view of that. See how closely this ties in with the rest of the town we drove in the previous video, and for example where the truck dealership is and a few other companies. So let's go around here and see where this train line goes to. There's another company beyond there, it seems. There are some buildings in the distance. Let's go and take a look. Time to teleport again. Yep, the train line goes straight on there. It does stop rather abruptly, but there's a nice set of buildings around here, look. That one's quite impressive, the blue one. But where are we at? Well, if we look, there's a silo of some sort. There's a company there. I think that's actually one of the ones we can visit from the other part of the town. Anyway, let's get back on the trail and go and drive the road we saw earlier. The right hand junction is done. We're going to go the left hand, which for us actually now is straight ahead. But anyway, we're going to go past the ExoMar trailer that's been dropped there and carry straight on. Past all these piles of logs. The trail narrows even further. It's more like a footpath going through another narrow ravine. This is not exactly a convenient location. Imagine trying to get something with a very wide load or long trail through there. That would be a challenge. That's what this map is about. Take it steady. As you can see, we're going to come across the main road shortly. Not as main as the roads are here. Oh, there's another junction. I'm not going to bother trying to see where that goes. It doesn't look like it going anywhere. But we'll keep driving the main map. So, as I said before, that road is one of the ones which is mapped. The road to the left here is the one that goes through desert, past an oasis, to the southern part of this mapped area. I'm going to go and find one of the undriven bits of road. If you can see it down on the map there, it's a little U-shaped piece, which is currently to our left. Nearly drove past it. It's quite a steep entrance way. I wonder if we'll make it up without any trouble. Let's see. One wheel, two wheels. Oh, and now we're cross-axled and the wheels are just drifting around. So, turn on the diff locks. And it pushes up nicely. Don't forget to turn them off again. There we go. See on the dashboard. And let's take it steadily around here. This is a nice looking village on the hillside. This presumably is the old town. And the part we're driving through is the new development. That looks very pretty. We've got some space at the side here, which I'm guessing would have been put to use for either businesses or residential areas. In fact, there's a chap riding his bicycle across there, probably going home. Let's keep going around here. There's a lot of stuff beyond those palm trees in the distance there. I wonder if we can go and see what that is. There was actually something which was in town. I noticed earlier on, another part of the video. I don't think it made the cut. There was another section. It's this. Somehow, some what look like sand ladder ramps or something like that. Anyway, they're just sitting there in fresh air. And you know the rules. If it looks drivable, you've got to try it. Steady away, steady away. Well, these things that look like they're held together with sellotape or winging a prayer, they've held that trip up quite nicely. Yay, good. And we're now on yet another drivable piece of the map. I don't know why we drive to there though, but that's one way through it. Let's quickly go back to where we were just at and see what's beyond those palm trees. So I'm going to go down the corner there at the end of the road section that we emerged at. Okay. Before we get there though, there is one little tiny piece of road which I noticed, and that's what I was just showing on the overhead view. There's a small section of grey road. Now, driving that high route, which is the one you see above, didn't get it done, so I'm going to try and drive this lower route and see if I can get the grey to turn orange. As you know, one of the things I like to do is drive all the map. I don't like leaving bits of road undriven. So we'll see where this ends up. We've seen what's on the other side of that blue fence before in the previous video. The business that's in front of us is Tremieri, the one we delivered to first in that one. Here we go, carefully around the corner. As you see, we're coming up to the grey area. Oh, there it is, it's done. You see that to the side there on the truck sat there? And we pop out in what again feels like an unfinished part of town. Time to go and find out what's behind the palm trees now. Here we go. Again though, that left-hand turn there was the end of the official map. I wonder if there's a barrier here. Well, of course there is. Right, time to teleport again. Luckily I'm not hitting any of these as hard as I did with the one in the wooded area. It's not tipping me over to the side. Again, a feature of this map, a lot of parked traffic. Now there's another memorial. What's this one look like? It's taken outside view. Very interesting. Nice, but again you couldn't drive past it. It's not accessible without teleport. There is another section of the map I want to drive, and this is the last section. But beyond here, behind the palm trees and so on, I want to see what's up here. There's a fuel station again. It's got active fuel pumps. Four-way junction. Two of the ways down there and that one straight ahead are not finished. Up here is finished now. Someone's thought carefully about this one. Otherwise, why would you put a line of rocks in the middle of the road and narrow it down even further by those parked cars and caravan? And there are clearly things driving back towards us, so let's see what's up here. Good road so far. Oh, the surface disappears. We're back on gravel. Better take it more carefully because you could spin out on the surface. It's a little bit more slippery. Oh look, it looks like the end of the road. There's a nice car parking area on the other side here, so let's go through that and do a turn around. There's nothing else to go on up there. I don't think I can drive up that part behind the camper. But I can do a U-turn quite nicely here and go back down to the village. I think I've got time enough just to get back down towards the fuel station. I'll stop there. Let's carefully set out on this one. There may be traffic suddenly appear right at us and cause an accident. So carefully looking, and there's a truck coming up the hill, certainly. If you look in the rear view, you'll see it disappear. There you go, cab first, trailer second. Back down the hill. And that, I think, is where I'm going to leave it for this video. There are other sections of this map. It's got a lot of orphaned pieces of roads, and those parts may well be linked to the main map in ways that we've seen in this one. It will be interesting to find out. But for now, we'll leave it here. All I will say though is this map, DSL map, has been really well thought through, just unfinished. So many areas that were very nearly ready and that could have been opened up to drive along. Anyway, here's the fuel station. What I'll do is I'll pull over here. I will leave you with a small picture, a little picture of one of the other mad roads in this map. Yes, that is a road straight ahead of my truck there. And just say thanks for watching. See you next time.